And so there is a distinct Cambodian American culture that is, even for me, I can't even speak on because I am not part of that culture. Something that is an obstacle is when I first got here, I thought I could make friends with them because I thought we could relate. But I learned that no, you have to treat everybody like generally.
Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to SEASPORA, to the video podcast about the stories of the Southeast Asian diaspora in the West. And I'm excited to have Mo with me. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Diaspora. Hi.
Yeah, thank you. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. A little nervous. This is like my first ever podcast, so hopefully I can trust you to help me navigate this thing.
Can you say some words about yourself for the audience? So, what are you doing? Who are you, etc.?
Yeah, so my name is Mo. I am a university student. I am Cambodian. I was born in Cambodia, but I was raised outside of the country. And for the past 2 weeks, I'm back here in my country, so everything's going pretty fine. A little bit of culture shock, but I'm still learning.
I think we will dig deeper into this topic. So today's episode will be about you, about your Cambodian or Khmer heritage, and how you navigate your Cambodian diasporic experiences in the West. But before I start asking you some serious questions, I would like to play a little game with you, which is kind of like a little pop quiz so that the listeners outside can get to know you better. This episode is brought to you by me. This podcast aims to shine light on communities that have often been overlooked, or rather, underrepresented in Western media. In a fast-paced world like ours, I want to tell stories that leave a lasting impression. Creating them in a video format is not only something that I enjoy, but also a way for me to reconnect with and explore my Thai heritage. That said, none of this would be possible without you. You help keep this podcast stay afloat. I know nearly every piece of content out there is asking you to like, share, subscribe. Mine is no different. But truly, I'm grateful for every bit of support and engagement. Thank you, and ขอบคุณค่ะ. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay, so I will introduce you to some phrases and I would like you to complete them according to your opinion and also to your understanding. I'm attracted to people who have or who are
stable. Yeah, so when we think of stability, we sometimes think of maybe having housing stability, financial stability. But I'm also thinking about being mentally comfortable to be able to have personal and serious topics that can be heavy. And so being able to be open and I guess to be able to be grounded and down to earth, that's very attractive to me and I believe to a lot of people.
Yeah. I think there's also a process behind that because not everyone is mentally stable and it takes a lot of effort and also time to get to this kind of stability. Next phrase. I'm immediately turned off by
the hot climate. The minute you just said that, because I'm wearing a jacket right now, so as you're talking, I'm feeling the heat right now, and that's why I'm like, oh my god, this is so hot.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's pretty hot, like in Thailand or other parts of in Southeast Asia that you are right now. And it can be also very stressful.
Absolutely. Well, I think you said you were based in Germany, right? So maybe you're feeling a lot more of the cold air, then that would be something you're a little turned off by, maybe, or maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really turned off by winter, like gray weather, rain all the time. And I'm in a city which is known for its rainfall. So it rains quite a lot here because I'm in the north of Germany and it's very close to the sea and it has like the sea climate zone. But I'm pretty turned off by the coldness and like not having the sun regularly here. So sometimes I really miss the hot weather. As a Cambodian woman in the West, I feel...
Oh, that's a good question. I had never thought of that, actually. I feel safe I live in California in the United States, and so there is a big Cambodian population, especially in Cambodia, but also in California, but also in other states. And so there is this sense of unity where you'll look at a person just walking by and then you see like, you kind of look familiar. Are you Filipino? They're like, no, I'm Cambodian. Like, oh, okay, cool.
So cool, like to see peers from your ethnic background and also to meet them super randomly. And I really love that. In Germany, though, it's not that the case, unfortunately, that you would stumble upon like other people from Southeast Asia. But if it happens, then I'm really glad about it.
Yeah, that's surprising because I know there's a big Chinese, big Vietnamese community in Germany and also
Yeah.
Indonesians in the Netherlands.
Yeah, exactly. There are like some Indonesian or like Vietnamese communities here. Speaking of Vietnamese communities, it's pretty big here. So if you see Southeast Asians, in most cases, they would be from Vietnam or second place, like Indonesia, for example. Okay. People assume that I.
And quiet.
How come?
Well, I'm more of a listener. That's why I'm nodding as you're talking. Like, I guess I'm just used to not talking because people in the U.S. naturally have this big extroverted main character energy in a good way, but it's just it demands the spotlight, and so people who are a little more shy or a little more awkward, they just naturally become quiet, I guess. But it's fine. It's completely normal.
Yeah, I agree actually. And I can remember from the past interviews that I had with Thai Americans, for example, especially those who were born and raised in America, they tend to be like more, I wouldn't say like extroverted, but more like outgoing and more keen to share their thoughts and opinions and more engaging in a way. Where like introverted people, it's pretty difficult for, because I myself, I would say about myself that I'm more like an introverted person. I find myself very difficult to speak about myself because I'm more interested in persons that I meet rather than telling about myself all the time. Last one, I'm happy when.
I'm happy when people are happy. There's a lot of, well, recently I should say, there's a lot of current international news that are quite devastating in all parts of the world, and so there there is a privilege in being happy. So when I see people being happy, I feel that warmth, that radiation coming towards me, and I feel very at peace.
Yeah, this makes very much sense, I think. I'm convinced that if you don't see happiness in other people, then eventually you don't also feel that kind of happiness as well for yourself. You mentioned before that you were born in Cambodia, right? And which part in Cambodia were you born?
Yeah, I was born in the capital Phnom Penh, raised in outside of the country. I was raised in Belgium, in Brussels, and then I came back to my country. Phnom Penh is where I mainly stayed, and then I went back out of the country to back to Belgium, and then to the U.S. to California, and now I'm back.
It was kind of like
So
a
it's
whole circle, actually. For those people who have never been to Cambodia or don't have a clue about Phnom Penh, how would you describe the capital of Cambodia in your words?
Yeah, it's funny because we talked about this before, and I think the word I used was regular or normal. I say that because it's just like any other big cities in the world. You have your poor people, you have your rich people, you have tall skyscrapers, you have the lower income, underdeveloped areas. But now that I'm here and I've been here for about 2 weeks now, I want to say that it's more so it's like get in, get out because it's so hot and you don't want to go outside all the time. So you just get out really quickly to get your stuff, to get your groceries, to go to school, do your work, and then come back without even hesitation because of how hot it is and how crowded it can be.
Yeah, I also experienced that people, because Thailand shares like the same hot climate and stuff, that they would hop on the motorbike then go to the next grocery store or to the next 7-Eleven, get the stuff, hop on back on the motorbike, and go back home, even though it would be like 5 minutes by foot to get to the grocery store, but still people tend to commute via motorbike.
Is that what it's called? Over here we call it tuk tuk.
Oh, the tuk is actually the thing that is more kind of like a taxi, where you can just like sit and then you can say to the driver, "Oh, I want to go to that destination."
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because nowadays a lot of people would just order delivery, and so they don't even leave their houses.
Yeah, right. That's so crazy actually, because in Europe it's pretty expensive, to deliver your food at home, but in Southeast Asia it's quite affordable. I think I had this conversation with another person who's also from Southeast Asia, and she said that convenience is like one of the striking traits of Southeast Asia, that you can get anything via app or anything else.
Absolutely. Well, I would also argue that, in Europe, in Belgium and both in Germany, the city is very walkable. Just walk and then get your stuff and come back. It's very convenient too. Versus where I lived in California, it was not that easy to walk. So everywhere you have to go, you need a car.
Let's talk about your experiences in both of these countries. How was living in Belgium different for you compared to living in California?
Good question. Well, I lived in Belgium when I was really, really young. So that was part of my childhood. In California, one thing I noticed is people smile a lot. People are very friendly and outgoing. So when I was walking down the road and there would be somebody walking past me, the normal thing would be to say, "Hi, good morning," something like that. If you're really shy, you can just smile and nod. And that's what I did when I first came here to Cambodia a few weeks ago. That's what I did. I was on the plane and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And the person looked at me, and my mom said that they must be from Germany because they looked at me like this, like straight face, and like, "Oh, okay, maybe that's a faux pas. Let's not do that." Same thing with Belgium. Belgium, it's a lot. I guess it's a European thing. It's not very smiley, I guess.
I mean, there are like many people in Germany, they are friendly, but they don't like show it in a way. And it's more like that they are reserved or tend to be reserved, and they are very suspicious towards strange people. And that's why they are not smiley at all.
Yeah, I got the impression they were looking at me and side-eyeing me. I was like, oh, do they think I'm crazy?
Yeah, so it's pretty difficult, especially for foreigners, to get used to it, like to the German culture and to the German mentality. I, for myself, I also struggle a bit because Thailand is so different from Germany. And each time when I'm in Thailand, I'm like, oh, everyone is really friendly and smiley. And I try to be friendly and be polite. But going back to Germany, I have to kind of like code switch a little bit because no one is really like that smiley.
I mean, I'm so sorry that has happened, I guess.
Yeah, for me too. What is your most cherished memory from your childhood?
I would say when I was in second or third or fourth grade, I don't remember, but when I was in Cambodia, I was in school and there was this big incentive to get all the kids to drink more water and to have like a water bottle, like a hydro flask or whatever type of water bottle instead of the bottled water that you would get at the stores. Whoever brought in the water bottle, they have this chance to write their name into a lottery system, and then they will get a prize. This was a school-wide thing, so not just my class, it was the whole entire school. All of the grades would do that. I remember my name being picked, and so I was really happy. I didn't know what was going on because there was a lot of people. I said, okay, cool, what is the prize? And it was 2 tickets to see the movie Rio 2, because my family and I were such big fans of the original movie. When we got the tickets, there were 2 tickets. But my family were 4 members. It was myself, my dad, and my mom, my dad, and my sister. So when we went to the movie theater, we just talked to the person in charge, and they said, you know what, it's fine. You guys go and share a seat, one seat for 2 people or something like that. But if there are a low number of people, you can sit wherever you want. And so we did. We had a great time watching the movie, and that was the first time my mom ever set foot into a movie theater. So that was pretty special.
Wow, this is crazy. Wow. And what did your mom say about after you left the movie theater and about her experience going to the cinemas for the first time? What did she say?
Well, she's a very she's very proud of both of us, both my sister and I. And so she would say, Loya, Loya konong. It's like, my daughter's really cool. This daughter of mine's really cool.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about your experiences going to school in Cambodia? Is there something aside from the water bottle that you remember?
I went to an international school because I wasn't really good at speaking Khmer because I lived abroad. And so when I came back, I had to learn a little bit of English and Khmer. That was when I learned English because in Belgium I learned French. So I was struggling with both languages. I would say one thing that I remember was watching Disney movies on my way to school because my dad would buy the CDs, and that's how I learned English. The American accent, I guess, from The Lion King, Snow White, Cinderella, The Jungle Book. And that's like really memorable for me, even though it's not necessarily set in school. It was just on the way there.
And did you see like any movies in Khmer language?
I would say not really, because the Cambodian film industry isn't as advanced as the American one. And we tried watching the Khmer dubs of Filipino telenovelas, and they were really good.
Yeah. I also went to the movie theaters I think like a few times in Thailand. And there are like some who are dubbed in Thai, but most of them, especially like foreign productions like American movies or European movies, they aren't dubbed. They are only like in subtitles for the Thai people to understand the movie.
I would say I am very privileged to have experienced love unconditionally. I did ask my parents before, just out of curiosity, if there was anything that I would do or I could be or do that would make them love me any less. And without skipping a beat, they would say, "No, you're our child. Obviously, we'll love you." So I never felt judged. I felt it was a very safe space for me to talk to them about my feelings. And a lot of times they already know or they already predicted how I felt just from my body language. And I think it's just the parent to child connection. They just know. So I'm very privileged in having a very happy life with them.
Yeah, that's really lovely to hear that you had like a very good relationship to your parents.
I know there's this stereotype of Asian parents being like tiger moms, tiger dads, like being very super strict on their children. That never has been the case for me. They know that I can do good, so I do good and they're happy. And if I don't, they'll say, okay, let us help you if you need help. But it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's so precious these days to have these kind of parents who are very supportive and also caring for their children, not in a toxic way.
Yeah, I wish that was represented more in media.
In preparation for this recording, you mentioned that you lived in North California for a while, namely in Stockton. Can you tell us how your family was connected to the Cambodian communities there?
Yeah, I lived in Stockton. The Stocktonian accent doesn't really pronounce the T. Stockton.
Oh.
Yeah, like Sacramento, it would be Sacramento. And so I would say I'm a Stocktonian. The Cambodian community here is actually pretty prominent. There is the big temple that we usually go to, and that's like one of the highlights of the Stocktonian culture. I'm pretty sure you might see it on a tourist flyer or something. I would say it's not really a religious thing amongst the Cambodian Gen Zers nowadays. It's just a place to go as a community, to share cultural food, cultural music, just to see each other.
Mm. So it's more kind of like an opportunity for people to socialize, gather around, and just hang out, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. because we don't really have this place for Cambodian kids to really go to meet each other like that. I guess there's in a community effort in pretty much most of Western society, like it is in Southeast Asia. So going to the temple, that's where you will meet your older generations there, and then they'll speak Khmer to you. You can either respond back or just smile and be like, because you don't know Khmer, but that's okay. Just enjoy the food, the music.
I heard about Thai Americans in California that they also go to the temples not only for religious reasons, but to see their family, see their friends, like Thai American friends, and just to hang out. Another aspect is that they also go to the temples to learn about Thai culture or Thai language. Is that similar to the Khmer temples in California?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a few clubs or a few local clubs that were organized that teaches young Cambodian kids the Cambodian ballet, the different rituals, the different language. The different letters in the languages. It's mostly for little kids, and for the older teens to late adults, it would be the musical part. But I would say because of the organizations are local and they're small, so it's not as popular, I would say.
And how did you engage with Khmer culture at home? Are there like any rituals that you do?
I speak Khmer to my mom, to my family all the time because that's how I retain my language. There isn't as much media representation for Cambodians. I would say that can be similar to Thai as well. So just speaking to your family, that's how you'll retain it. I really like Cambodian food. I really like Cambodian cuisine.
There are, I think, two aspects that I want to like to ask you about, which is the first, the Khmer language, and the second, the food. I also tried to learn Khmer at university, only for one semester though. For me, I find it very difficult to speak Khmer, even though there are like parallels between Khmer and Thai, and the writing in Thai is also like a bit similar than in Khmer. But I've also had the impression that Khmer is very like such a strong language. And what advice can you give for people who want to learn Khmer on how to improve their Khmer language skills?
Well, if you want to learn Khmer, first of all, I would say thank you for even trying and making the effort. Second of all, I'm sorry of how difficult it is. I would say treat it as if it's a new language. If you already know a language that is similar or has similar sounding words or similar pronunciation, try to abandon that and try to learn it as it is. You have to treat it as if it's a new thing. It's like a car. You can't really treat it like if it's another car or another person. I would say it's funny that you say that you learn Khmer because I tried learning Thai. It took me one exact day and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's like a syllable here, a syllable here, a syllable here, versus in Khmer, it would be pronouncing it as a whole. But it's funny that we have similar sounding words or similar letterings because I remember seeing like the number one for you guys is like this. That's the exact same for us too. How do you say language in Thai?
It's Phasa. Phasa Thai means like Thai language.
I would say Piasa Thai. So it's a Pia sounding. And we also have like similar sounding words for flute, Kloi.
Mm-hmm.
I think I believe Thai has like the high sound, the middle sound, the low sound. In Khmer, it's just the high sound and the low sound. I think that's what trips me up. So
Yeah.
for like the word country, it would be prate for me. What would it be for you?
It's also like patet in Thai. Yeah, that was very similar. My Khmer teacher told me, yeah, Khmer language doesn't have any tones, so it's not a tonal language like Thai. But for me, there are like different tones, as you said before, like there are like high tones and also like low tones. And he couldn't like tell me why Khmer has these different tones for me, even though grammatically it doesn't have any like tonal changes.
I think what he's trying to say is it makes you go nasally, pronounces things nasally and lower, but it's
Yes.
tonal like like in Mandarin, how ma would be horse or mom, depending on how you say it. I think that's what he meant, maybe.
Yeah, I think so too, but he was like not really good at explaining this for me. So you also mentioned that you really like Khmer food. And unfortunately, Khmer food is also not really represented when it comes to like Southeast Asian cuisine outside the West. I mean, Thai is kind of like really omnipresent in a way. The same goes for Vietnamese cuisine. But if you want to know more about like Khmer cuisine, it's pretty difficult to find even like restaurants in that sort. Which dishes do you like? And how can people cook Cambodian food if there aren't any restaurants in their hometown?
When I was in Stockton, there were a few Cambodian restaurants, but like you said, Thai cuisine and Vietnamese cuisine are more omnipresent. So they would write Cambodian plus Thai cuisine, Khmer plus Vietnamese cuisine, and it's not even Thai cuisine or Vietnamese cuisines, they just have it in the name. But one thing that I really like about Cambodian cuisine is how diverse it can be. I really like this dish called Gui Tiew, and I think Thai people also have that, Gui Tiew.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even a Khmer dish. It is part of Cambodian cuisine, but it's from the Chinese people, the Chinese migrants who will come over to Southeast Asia. And they'll make this, and that's how Thai people have it. Malaysian people also have it, and it's so good. Another cuisine that another dish that I really like would be Num Pang Sac Pate, Num Pang Pate or something like that. And I guess you can say it's the Cambodian version of a Vietnamese banh mi. The French colonized, and so we got the baguettes left over. We got the spam, this pate left over. Yeah, it's very similar to other Southeast Asian cultures. It's like a big mumble jumble thing. There are also ethnic Khmer dishes too, but it's just that the ones that are more represented are like Gui Tiew or Numpang Sak Pate. That's what's most easily consumed by tourists and visitors, and so that's what they like. And I can say it's because they can make that connection to other Southeast Asian countries.
There was also like one dish that I tried, which was kind of like a fish curry, amok.
Oh, amok! I didn't want to bring it up. I haven't tried it yet, but my mom loves amok. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a fish curry, and it's served like within like banana leaves, and the curry broth, I would say, is very thick, so it's almost like kind of like solid in a way. And we have also like in Thailand a similar dish compared to amok, but it's not amok. It's only the Thai version of it.
When I was in Stockton, the majority of people of Cambodian descent are the Cambodian Americans. I am Cambodian. I was born in Cambodia, so I lived in Stockton as a Cambodian. I would say something that is a little different or an obstacle is that majority of the Cambodian Americans have families who came here as refugees, and they might be second, third generation. So that's how their culture shaped them as who they are. And I still have stronger ties to Cambodia because of my Cambodian origins. And so there is a distinct Cambodian American culture that is, even for me, I can't even speak on because I am not part of that culture. Something that is an obstacle is when I first got here, I thought I could make friends with them because I thought we could relate. But I learned that no, you have to treat everybody like generally as the same and to just be open to conversations.
Yeah, I kind of relate. Although we are all part from the same country or like from the similar regions, it doesn't mean that you need to or that it's easy to connect with people from your own peers and from your own ethnic background. I was born in Thailand and I grew up mostly in Europe. So my experience are very different from people in Thailand or Southeast Asia who grew up there, who went to school there and came as an adult to the West, because I can relate to a certain extent, but it's also very difficult for me to relate with Thais who came here from, I would say, like the working class, because they have like a different mindset and different worldview, and they are mostly in Europe or in the West to earn money and to make a living, and they have the idea to go back one day to Thailand or to their motherland, because they don't see like the West as the final destination for them. It's only like a stopover.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's something I never thought of. I thought because at least in the US, everybody's trying to achieve this American dream, and so for a lot of people, it's to immigrate to the US. I never thought of it just going there, working, and then getting back out. That's really interesting.
Yeah, because you also see these micro migration also within Southeast Asia to a really, really small extent, that people from, I would say, like poorer regions such as Northeast Thailand or maybe Laos, they would then go to the south of Thailand, to the islands, because there are many tourists and tourists bring money in most cases. So they spend there some time working as a masseuse or in restaurants or anything else. I'll save some money, and then eventually they will go back to their hometown to build a house, for example.
Yeah, that seems to be like the mindset for a lot of people in Cambodia too, from the provinces. They'll come to the capital. Life happens. They'll start a family here, and then sometimes they'll visit their hometowns. But that's really interesting. You mentioned the class distinction, because I'm sure for the middle class, the upper middle class, it's a lot more of a luxury to go somewhere and to live comfortably, versus the lower class, like you said, the working class. They would go there and mainly work and have that mindset to be work, 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 and then come back. And I think we haven't talked about the people who were forced out, who were displaced and had to leave their countries, to have to leave their towns, the refugees. And that's majority of the Cambodian American diaspora.
That's one thing that I haven't touched yet, and I'm also a bit afraid to address this, is the aspect of the civil war and also genocide, which is also like a big shadow, I would say, over the Khmer diasporic experience and Khmer diasporic members. Did you, or have you ever experienced this, or like from other people in your community, from your Khmer community, who came as refugees to California?
Yeah, that seems to be about 99% of how Cambodians came to the US. A lot of people were fleeing the Cambodian genocide, the Khmer Rouge, the Khmer Kahom, Khmer Rouge in the 70s, and they laid roots there. And now you're seeing the first crop, or the second crops of generation of Cambodian Americans who are about my age, and they talked about that because their parents or grandparents are in this survival mode. They don't have the time or the educational background to teach their children the Khmer languages, and because of the lack of resources as well. And that led to a lot of Cambodian Americans starting gangs, because they're also part of the working class, the lower working class. And a lack of opportunities meant that a lot of these gangs would be able to recruit new people. It's something it's a stigma, it's taboo. We should not glorify violence, but unfortunately, we should also see why they want to join these gangs to begin with. I think that's part of the older generation. Currently, a lot of Gen Z Cambodian Americans are on Twitch, are on YouTube. They're being losers like us. So
I think I have like some few questions before we wrap this up. Which values do you most cherish in Khmer culture?
I Because I am Cambodian, I would say I like a lot of parts of Cambodian culture, Khmer culture specifically. I really like this sense of community that it brings, but you can say that about any other culture as well. I like the cuisine, which you can also say that about any other culture. I would say it's because it's mine and it's personal, and so that is why I really cherish the Khmer culture.
And are there like stereotypes towards Cambodian people that you find frustrating?
Something that is a good and a bad thing is that Cambodian culture is not super represented in the world. And so there isn't this prejudice of Cambodians yet. Cambodian American culture, I would say that there is this stereotype of being excessive drinking, gambling, smoking, a lot of the negative traits, the negative aspects, being loud, having tattoos that are also seen as a negative. But I think as the generation progresses, these stereotypes are also dwindling down.
What forms of Khmer culture or identity would you like to see more represented?
I would love to see more better Cambodian entertainment, better Cambodian films, better or accessible ways to learn the Khmer language. Duolingo, I don't think has an option. I'm not too sure on that, but yeah, just more stuff geared towards the younger generation because we do want to learn. We just don't have the resources.
Yeah, this is true. What advice can you give to the members of Khmerdiaspora who are struggling with their identity and trying to find a place in life? So what advice can you give to them?
One thing that I can give is that it's difficult. It's definitely difficult, but to be able to find a community online, whether that is through social media or just looking up how do you pronounce this word on the Google Translate, that is an effort. You're doing something. Don't beat yourself down over it. You might have an accent that is different from me or from somebody else who speaks better Khmer, but you're doing something. So don't look at it as a waste.
I think this is a really valuable advice. I think not to be ashamed and also to keep on going and practicing Khmer languages or the language from your parents or grandparents. Because I experienced that people from other diasporic communities, they are really shy when it comes to speaking the language from their parents because they feel that they've been ridiculed for this and not speaking like the native language properly, and there's so much like shyness and also a bit of shame about this that people don't try to learn like Thai or Vietnamese or Lao, for example, because they feel, oh, they've been ridiculed from their own peers, from their own community. So, or by struggling to learn this language. But I think if you get out of your comfort zone, and even though you don't speak proper Khmer or you have a thick accent, then it's okay to speak this because this is a thing for me. We need to normalize this.
I see this happening all the time in Stockton or in any parts of California where the older generation would ridicule the younger generation for not speaking proper Khmer. And what's funny is my mom, she speaks Khmer better than I can, and she'll be able to recognize this person's from this part of the region because of her accent. What she's saying, she has these vocabularies from these regions. And so for them, it's not even considered proper Khmer. Even people in the capital, we don't speak proper Khmer either. It's hypocritical because there is no proper way to talk. You're just speaking from different regions. It's like how I'm speaking English right now. I might have messed up a lot of conjugations, a lot of the past tense and present tense, but that's just how I talk as a native. There's no need to be rude about it.
Yeah, totally. Otherwise, people in the next generations, they wouldn't pick us up because they experience this being ridiculed or they experience rudeness from other people. I guess having patience and also being friendly to them while they are learning the language or learning about the culture. It's totally fine. Yeah, Mo, thank you so much for your time and talking with me about your Khmer diasporic experiences and also about Khmer culture. It was for me super enriching to know more about Cambodia. Even though Cambodia is right next to Thailand, I feel like there is not a lot of access to this culture and also to the knowledge. So I'm really appreciate your time, and also I'm very grateful that you talk with me about this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. You're right. I don't see a lot of Cambodian representation on social media or on any platform. So I'm glad to be able to do this with you.
Thank you. And thank you guys outside for tuning in and listening to our talk. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and listen to another episode of this podcast. Thank you. And have a great day. How do you say thank you in Khmer?
You can say Akun.
Akun.
Okay, how do you say it in Thai?
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Kapkunka.
ขอบคุณ Akun. บ๊ายบาย